is wicked nice.
Welcome to Hops News, the trusted source in beer culture news. Here's your host, Jay Brew, with special guests, the Hoppy Mommy, Lucky, and Mash.
Yo, yo.
Hey, another episode. We're back. We've got the crew with us. The OG crew. It's kind of the OG crew now. It's only actually been a few months that we've been together, but it definitely feels like the old OG crew now. Got a great episode lined up for you guys. It is going to be a good one. We're drinking some, what'd you say, phenomenal beer?
It's college, baby.
So if you've paid attention over the weeks, you will realize that I was talked into doing 2 episodes a week for an hour each, and cutting it down from just the 1 2-hour episode that we done on Thursday night. Well, it just so happens that Lucky and I are the only ones that are showing up on a regular basis on Tuesday night. So to try to help get some of the extraordinary talent that we do have on Tuesday night, Thursday nights are going to be cheap beer nights for a while. And we put Lucky and I put a limit.
It's hard to hop on twice. Hold on.
Lucky and I put a limit of $2 a beer, no more than $2 a beer on Thursday night past Tuesday. So we're all, well, I'm not, because trying to make sure we try to spread the talent over the weeks or the days that we're on. But the others are not happy about this one, because it's usually a night that they get to sit back and drink 3 or 4 good beers. But not tonight. We're all sipping on something that we probably sipped in the early years of our beer drinking experiences. But it's still going to be fun. Still going to be a great episode. And before we get let's go check in with a guest, our other host, and find out how they're doing in the world first. Then we'll come back to me real quick, because I have a pretty special live unboxing to do tonight. So let's go check in with Lucky in that Milwaukee, Wisconsin, man. Speaking of beer, and speaking of, I know we get a hard time, Lucky, for doing this to him on Thursday night, but I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for the beers that we're drinking tonight, would craft beer be where it's at today?
Oh, absolutely not. You guys are sipping on PBR. I wish I could be joining you, but the only thing that I could find at my grocery store that was $2 was this. It's Natty Light Natter Days. So little bit of a story behind this. This came out last year, right? I think like last February or something. And the guy that I lived with at the time, or one of my roommates, he went to Madison, and all they drink in Madison is Natty Light. That's literally all that they drink. And so he was super excited when this came out, and he was like, we have to have like a college night, like a college party night or whatever, just have a bunch of people over. And this was last year, and all we got was these Natter Days. And so I probably had like 20 of them in a night, and I have never been so sick in my life. Like the next morning, I woke up. I know. It's like the most gut rot beer. It's like they go down super smooth for something that's absolutely disgusting. But
they come up super smooth, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it was a rough next day. So yeah, I'm sipping on Natty Light, the Natter Days, and yeah, I don't know. Happy to be back. I had fun with you on Tuesday, Jay.
Yeah,
thanks to JJ. Thanks to JJ for stepping up, and he enjoyed it a lot too.
Yeah, man. Tuesday nights are always good. They're not quite as well attended as our Thursday night, because our Thursday night's kind of the OG night. But yeah, we had a great night, man. Tuesday night was good. I definitely am catching the groove of the Tuesday night crowd, because it is a little bit unique, a little bit different than what we're used to. But the after hours on Tuesday night, it was legit. I mean, it was
awesome, man. That was a lot of fun.
I've got to give.
Awesome.
I don't know who we give credit to for this on our team, but inviting guests to the after hours has been a hit. If you're not part of the after hours, that's a legit time that we get to kick back with the guests, bring them on camera on the Zoom, and have a great conversation with them. People get to interact and learn more about them and what they're doing in the beer business. And
if people don't know, I'm trying to look like a frat bro. That's like why
It's $2 frat night outside.
It's $2 frat night. That's why. Just so you don't think I always dress like this, but yeah, I've got the basketball jersey rocking on purpose.
Why his Tinder mentions are dry.
Why they're dry.
With his natural light. That's awesome.
Too true.
Let's go down to Florida and check in with Hoppy. We haven't seen her in a week now. Hoppy, how's that beer treating you down there tonight? That's not.
I haven't.
That's not your typical Florida beer down there, is it?
PBR?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Have you been to Gainesville?
Yeah,
Nice.
I always have PBR in my fridge because it's my brother's go-to. And so my mom will buy like a case of it when she's here because we all come over and do dinner. So I actually have PBR in my fridge all the time. I just don't ever drink it. But I'm actually still
maybe we can
finishing
get
up
your.
my pre-canned beer.
Can we get your brother to do a guest host on Thursday night for us?
Sure, he'd love to. He actually is the one that gave me my first taste of an IPA. It was a 60-minute Dogfish, but he says that he enjoys good beer, but he just prefers to drink, like if he's going to drink a lot, he prefers to drink like PBR or Yingling.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to have to get your brother to do a guest spot for us on Cheap Beer Night. I bet you can put away some PBRs.
Yes, he can put away a lot of PBR.
Well, you were talking about that all-day drink fest, so she might have to sub in.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. Our Livers for a Cause marathon.
That's
We're
literally
doing our livers live on air.
Yeah, we might. That's in
Typically
the
just
works.
my
We haven't
Saturday.
quite got there yet, but that might be in the works. I bet you we
my
could come up
secret.
with a scheme for that one. That would be a
I'm
good
in the
one.
military. I'll drink all day.
We could probably get the target would obviously be brewers, and our guests that we had on is to donate money so we could stop drinking cheap beer. Right? Is that like a big target up
You
there?
have to hit like
I feel like that would
certain.
backfire.
I
People
feel
would
like
be
you have
like,
to hit
oh,
certain tiers.
Yeah.
Before you can
Yeah, right.
so you don't die. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Don't die.
We'll have to think about this so we don't get alcohol poisoning. Any ideas would be greatly appreciated. Hoppy, good seeing you back. We'll hit you up again for beer school, if not sooner. Let's go check in with, I think we're going to have Mash there. Oh, Mash, I've messed up your, but I'll get it fixed while you're talking. Talk to us and tell us what's going on out there in Mountain Home, Idaho.
Oh boy, what is going on? It's been a long week. I was looking forward to this until you said $2 beer night. Craft beer Jesus in his little golden brewery in heaven, in his little beanie with a flannel in his beard, is really disappointed in me right now. He says, you just went from drinking the mecca of craft beers to PBR tall boys that remind me of every summer Warped Tour I've ever been to. So, you know what? I'm going to choke this down. Anytime you go to me and I take a sip, I'm probably going to be dying on the inside, but it's for the cause.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here. I'm wicked excited to have Baxter on because every hike I would ever go on while back home in New England, I would always have a Baxter in my backpack for when I got to the top. So I'm super stoked to have them on tonight. And it's great to be back. $2 beer and all.
That's awesome. Appreciate your spirit. Appreciate you going out. I see you added Florida to the background there. Florida people.
Yes.
If you've got some stickers, I know Mash would happily take some Idaho and Florida brewery stickers sent his way because that's kind of impressive. You built those out pretty quickly and starting to fill them up pretty quickly. So
I'm 2 states down, 48 to go. I might make New England its one separate section, but if you're just watching, I'm making an entire map of the United States out of wood and just putting breweries on them.
Nice.
So stickers. If you've got stickers, I want them.
Awesome. Hey, why you mentioned Maine there, Friends of Maine State Park is the nonprofit for today. There's already been a few people that's hit it up. Appreciate you guys. Hit that nonprofit up there. We're going to come back here to me, back here in the home studio. So we're going to do a live unboxing. As you can see, this is pretty taped up. Arrived today on the slow boat. But this is something we've been talking about for a few weeks.
We should all
need a drum roll
until the end, though.
No, because this is going to be this will be one of the giveaways. This will be the bomber jacket giveaway. So.
Oh my God! If I don't win this one,
you got to donate, Lucky.
We did.
Oh, I already did. Oh, don't you worry. Do not worry.
Oh, wow.
I think I have like an auto deposit on at this point.
So these are going to be
with you.
Pretty outstanding. The very first.
Let's go.
Hops News.
Ah, nice.
Damn, that's sexy.
That is a legitimate
Oh my
Hops
God,
News
that's so sick.
bomber jacket.
Look, Lucky, if we don't get it tonight, man, this is a lost cause.
I mean, yeah,
I
you
love the
might.
hops on the back though.
And the awesome
Gorgeous.
thing is when you've got it tipped up, the can up, there's a hops right there.
Dang.
Oh my God.
This is the first. This is like the initial rollout of our merch line.
This is our
We got some merch
first.
in the pipe, and this is it, baby.
First, obviously, the first 7 now are going out to the Sip of Sunshine family members because that was part of their package. You guys will be getting this in the mail this week for sure. The 8th one is going to be going out to a random drawing tonight. So donate. I'll see who donates. We'll pick a random drawing to pull out that 8th Hops News bomber
But you
jacket.
just let me pick the random name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. just keep donating, Lucky. You'll get lucky one of these days. No, it's going to be
someday.
It's going to be a good episode. Got a great cause. Got a great brewery. And speaking of, let's see if Jenn is there. Jenn, are you there in the green room holding on for us?
I am. I think so.
Awesome. Yeah, you're there. Definitely have you. Great for joining us. We appreciate your time and appreciate you hanging out there in the green room for a few minutes waiting for us to get through the typical stuff that we try to get out of the way before we get the guests down here so we can start rambling and taking up the rest of your evening.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And again, thanks for joining us, Jenn Lever. How do you pronounce
Lever.
it? Lever.
Lever.
Yep. President of Baxter Brewing there in Maine. And just for people listening, I always look for an excuse to play The Ghost of Paul Revere, and that is a Maine band in the background. And I will tell you what, if you don't know about these guys, you will in the next few years because they will be at the top of some charts before too long. Great band out of Maine. Got a great brewery on the phone.
They just released a new music video, and that was shot at our brewery.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
That is completely a
Not only is she the
coincidence.
president of Baxter Brewery, but she is now a big-time celebrity with music video appearances.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Oh, I am not in the music video, but I will tell you that it's the only internet page that I have open right now is this new music video, because we've been waiting for it to come out. We were really excited to see it. We actually make a beer with them every August for their Labor Day concert called Ghostland.
Oh.
So this year would have been the third. So it's funny that you mentioned them, because we are big fans of the guys.
Yeah, that's crazy. I will tell you, my introduction to him was, we've got a good friend in Hickory, North Carolina, that sent us a message one day and said, hey, would you guys like to come to a Living Room concert in a few months? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it just happened to be these guys. And I'm telling you what, these guys are amazing at a venue, but when you can watch them in a living room, holy shit. It was absolutely the best music event that I've ever been to. I mean, it was amazing. And what those guys are doing is phenomenal. But it's pretty cool. I'm definitely, if somebody can, if one of you guys can find the link to that music video and post it there in the chat, that would be great. So Jenn, tell us how we like to start things is tell us about your background in beer, how you got started in it, what was your, what brought you to it, and kind of where you ended up with it.
So actually my background of beer started with Baxter. My background is in process manufacturing. So I was with Pepsi for 6.5 years, and then I went down in New York and Virginia, and then I moved back to Maine to run a vegetable processing plant, and got the opportunity to do some consulting for Baxter to just help them with some cost savings and efficiencies and trying to improve their quality metrics. And then got the opportunity and offered to be the director of operations in 2017, and became the president last summer, and just kind of dove in. And our team always kind of likes to joke about anything darker than a Mick Ultra. It was kind of like, I don't know, but now it's the darkest beers are my favorites. Actually, we just released my first brew that I did in 2017, which was a trail mix brown ale, this past spring, called Muddy Boots, and we did that for the International Women's Day brew. And so we had a ton of women from around the state of Maine come in and brew that with us, and it's got some LL Bean boots on it, and it's my very first try at a nice deep brown ale. And so my introduction to dark beers is Baxter's beer called Wicked Dark that was released in 2016, and I had no idea that I would find so much love within that realm of the stouts and browns.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was your first experience with beer? What was the first sip of beer that you remember taking? Obviously, it probably wasn't a craft beer, but kind of take us back to where you first experienced beer and what got you started.
I think the first beer might have been a Utica Club, or maybe like a Natty Ice. Back in like high school, and when you're drinking, twisted teas are really popular in Maine when you're drinking like Smirnoff Ice and Natty Ice.
Yeah, they are.
The twisted teas half and half are a big thing in Maine. So I think that was my first experience, and definitely didn't anticipate that I'd ever be making it. But I'd say going to school out in Geneva, New York, a lot of the light beer offerings out there are your kind of more traditional big house beers.
Nice. That's it's kind of do you remember at what age you started? What was your first sip that you were like, man, that's beer? And that's, maybe you didn't like it, you were so young, but at what age was that? Do you remember?
It was probably 19. I was like, oh, okay. You can drink like good beer and not twisted teas, and I don't have a headache, and my stomach doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from
19.
Yeah, from Twisted Teas, when was your first real craft beer experience, and what was that?
That's a good question. First craft beer was probably. Well, it's so funny. I guess when you're not in the beer world, right? Like what you define as craft beer. So like what I wouldn't have defined back then, the Sam Adams or some of the regional breweries. But I think like the first experience with going to a tap room and through the whole small system and meeting the brewer who's also the packager was probably Night Shift. Or
I'm wearing their hat
Tributary.
right now. I love Night Shift. I got a couple in the fridge.
Yeah, so I think that was one of my first like, oh, this is a thing. There's a whole culture here. And Tributary actually in New Hampshire is a really memorable like first experience of just wow. There's a lot here to uncover. So much to learn. So many styles. My favorite breweries are the breweries that kind of do the gamut. They have a lot of different styles and they do them well, and try to honor the stylistic differences of different people within their staff. And I like doing the samplings at those type of breweries. But at Tributary, there's just like a wealth of knowledge out there too. The guys that have just been doing it forever.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah. I think those two probably stand out. It's probably I don't know which one happened first, but definitely right around the same time.
Nice. So we have Jenn from Baxter Brewing Company on as the guest tonight. Definitely a great brewery with great people doing great things up there with the Friends of Maine State Park. So hit those up, donate. That is the only way you're going to get entered for the bomber jacket tonight. This may be the first one out in public, so if you want in on this one, definitely get in on it, because that's how you get it, is to donate. Drop some change in that bucket for a great organization working with a great brewery. Jenn, how obviously in the beer world, the beer culture, you use that word yourself, and that's kind of what got us started. Just so people know, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary. We haven't been as consistent through the 4 years as we would like to, but the beginning of Hops News was talking about breweries that were doing great things in their community, and that started about 4 years ago. Jenn, tell us about your involvement, Baxter Brewing's involvement in the community, and what it is that you guys do and how you support the Friends of Maine State Parks.
Awesome, yeah. So Baxter was named after Baxter State Park. Luke, the founder of Baxter, who actually he and I went to high school together, he chose the name Baxter to try to honor the times that he spent with his parents when he was growing up, and just to try to pick something really iconic that people could assimilate with. And after his mom passed away, it really made him take a look at life and how he wanted to spend his time, and having a craft brewery was the way he wanted to go. And so from the very beginning, Baxter has really been indebted to the Lewis and Auburn community. He was goodness, 10 years ago, I guess we were 23, I think, at the time. And he had big ideas, big dreams, the first New England brewery to be all cans. And so we've always participated with the LA Arts community, the local colleges. We do a number of different projects with them. But since that time, we have a beer with a foundation called the Travis Mills Foundation that we make with Travis Mills, called Limitless, in the fall. And we use all Maine ingredients, all Maine hops, all Maine malt. And we give back, and we do a big fundraiser for him in October and his foundation. And this last year was the second year. The first year we raised $13,000. The second year we raised almost $40,000.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, which is a huge testament to Travis's foundation and the outreach there. But Travis is a wounded veteran and a quadriplegic who bought the Elizabeth Arden Estate in Mount Vernon, Maine, and he is the most full of life person I think I've ever met. And he's there to, his whole mission in life is to never give up, never quit. And he has a state that brings in families of wounded veterans, and you get to just enjoy yourself at his estate. He's got a movie theater. It's right on the water. He's got massage parlors and disc golf course and rope course. And so it's a very easy foundation to just want to do your part and want to give back in some way. And so that's one that's really close to our heart. And then we've done so many projects at this point that we actually created a few. We use a unified UPC, and we call it our passion project lineup. And so each time we release a beer, it's just to highlight an organization that we really love and care about. So the Friends of Katahdin and through a beer called Key to Summit, there's a gentleman named Gary Allen who created these 2 marathons, one in MDI, which is Mount Desert Island, in September, and then one in Millinocket in December. And these people come from all over the world. It's the only free qualifier for the Boston Marathon, and they run the first weekend in December. And the idea is, because it's free, that wherever you go in Millinocket, if you spend $20 to get lunch, to tip $20, and it's just to put a surge into the Millinocket economy. And it took the Boston Marathon 76 years to get as many registrants as Gary was able to get in his second year of the Millinocket Marathon.
Gosh.
Yeah, he's definitely told me to stop at any point, but if you Wikipedia Gary Allen, he's like the most incredible person. He has 3 decades straight of under 3-hour marathons. He ran from Acadia down to Obama's inauguration in January of the year he was inaugurated. And he's just wildly inspirational. And so we built a beer called Key to Summit, which is a blueberry spruce tip lager. And we donate to both of those marathons, and we go to both marathons, and we just get the opportunity to soak up all the energy. And last year I was in my bibs on the side of the road clapping for 6 or 7 hours and drinking beer and and wishing I had the aspiration to run 26 miles in 13-degree weather. So
yeah, for sure. That sounds like a great person to be associated with, and to be a part of a organizations and everything else that they're involved in. So that's definitely in a career path growth, and being in part of an organization like that. That's invaluable, to be honest with you. So it's pretty cool that you get to be a part of people like that. That's the intangibles of work that I often tell people. If you don't have intangibles that make it beneficiary outside of a paycheck, then you're probably not at the right place. So definitely cool to be involved with people like that and organizations like that. So tell us a little bit about Baxter Brewing outside of their great work that they do with the community. What kind of beer? What do you guys specialize in? I know a few minutes ago you said you like breweries that do a little bit of everything and do it well. Sounds like you like to go a little bit outside of the traditional styles and methods. You talked about a blueberry lager. I remember hearing that because I'm on a huge lager kick right now. And one thing that is missing, I think, in that space is those fruit adjuncts. You don't see a lot of fruited lagers right now, but I can imagine a blueberry lager at 80 degrees in Blowing Rock, North Carolina is sweltering. And that's what it was today, and I could definitely go for a blueberry lager tonight.
Hey, Maine's known for their blueberries too.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Yeah, and the Key to Summit one actually has spruce tips in it as well. And we had guys at our pub last night, and they were like, no way, this is not my thing. And I was like, I will buy your beer if you don't like this. I'm telling you. And I can tell you're not a good liar. So I'm telling you, you're not going to take, it doesn't feel like you're licking a spruce tree. Like you're going to like it. And they were blown away. So it's always fun too to get people to try stuff out of what they think they like. But we certainly are known for Stowaway. The Stowaway IPA is the best-selling IPA in Maine. The West Coast style IPA comes in at 6.9%. So it's a heavy hitter, and it was the second beer that Baxter ever released. And last September, we actually hit 100,000 barrels with that one.
Wow.
And
Nice.
yeah,
That's a lot of beer.
It's a fun one. It's actually it's my favorite fan to be in the market is like a really dedicated stowaway fan, because they just have the most ridiculous stories. Like there's a guy that's a local here in Maine, in Falmouth, and he went when our Hannaford supermarket had it on sale 2 summers ago, and he bought a cord worth of stowaway.
Wow. Nice.
So he cleaned out, so he said, that his dad used to always have cords of Bud Heavies in the basement, and he bought a cord worth of stowaway. So whenever his wife doesn't want to look at him, he has to go downstairs and rip through a 12-pack.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mash, you're going to have to see what you can do to get us some of the stowaway IPAs. I'm sure you got connections with that. You could probably make that happen for us.
I do.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get back. The coronavirus has obviously put a damper on that, but I miss home. Even just talking to Jen right now, I mean, I moved in October, so like I was telling them, Baxter's one of the staples I had that I always bring on hikes with me anytime I was in the White Mountains, things like that. So that's one of those things I'm missing as a hike out here is a nice Baxter once they get to the top, the couple miles more, things like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think filtered IPAs, which I think a lot of people associate us with that. We do hazy IPAs as well. We do a couple of fun projects. Limitless is a blonde ale. It's because that's the only beer Travis will drink. So it's funny because when you meet guys in the market, they'll be like, a blonde ale? Who makes a blonde ale? Like, well, Travis is a quadriplegic veteran, and that's the only beer he drinks. And it's like, oh, yeah. No, only men would admit that. Yeah, that's true. I bet that's great. The tone changes. But, yeah, I mean, so it's definitely our staple. Couple More Miles is another. Couple More Miles is our, like, homage to West Coast meets East Coast. So it is filtered, but it's really juicy. We use Strata and the dry hops. So Strata's a proprietary. That's a kind of a newer hop to the market. And we're just having a ton of fun with that one. So we really, really enjoy it. It's been fun to watch our stowaway fans dabble in a different style, because stowaways are really, really malt forward IPA. And then we've got a hazy IPA that comes out in the summer called Go For It. That's named after Caddyshack. And it's 8.8% bomb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's a fun one. And then we've been trying to, we're working to elbow our way into being the local craft lager option. We really love lagers. Whenever I'm out with brewery people, whether it's owners, tappers, whoever it is, brewers, we kind of tend to all want to drink the lager. And so we got into the lager game at the end of 2017, and we've kind of fine-tuned it, and we switched our lager yeast style, and we've got 2 lagers. One's called Vacation Land, which is a 4.9%, and then we've got Lager Road, which we do in our variety pack, but that was the first beer that we put into 19.2-ounce cans. So those are pretty fun to crush on a hot day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mash, see if you can lean on your connections a little bit and give me some of those lagers for tailgates.
I'm about to call my mom and be like, listen.
Those lagers would be great on tailgates. So see if you can pull some connections with that. Hoppy, are you...
back home.
Hoppy, I know you've tried to chime in a couple of times. Let's check your audio back down there and see if you got it working. Are you working down there?
I don't know. I switched computers tonight, and Matt told me that I am far and quiet.
Yeah, you're still a little bit far, but they can hear you now. Go ahead with what you have for Jen there and Baxter.
All right, I'm just going to yell into the microphone. I had a couple questions, actually. First, when you were talking about the marathon guy, were you saying Barry Allen?
Gary, Gary.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy has the same name as the
No.
Flash, and he runs really fast marathons.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh my God, he's a real life Flash.
Right.
So, Jen, a little bit of background. Mash and Hoppy do a Hops Geek News that's all about comic book and comic book movies and superheroes and that sort of thing. So, when you said that, I know she was getting all excited, saying a real life guy that runs fast with the same name. So,
I'll have to,
a little bit of background for you.
Yeah, no, I'll have to tell him about that. I'll have to send Matt a picture of him dancing, because that just really rounds out the image for you too. It's not as good as a comic book name, but it's he's a spirited guest.
Awesome.
So yeah, I actually had another question too. And if I'm being too low again, I'm looking at you guys. So just give me a nod or whatever. I looked on your website. I want to hear more about the sensory training panel. So all of a lot of your employees are actually trained to pick up certain tastes and whatnot on your beer.
Yeah. So our new, or he's kind of new. He came in December. Is our quality director Merritt Waldron. So if you see him on the website. He actually wrote a book that's getting released on August 3rd about how to implement quality into breweries. So my background is in quality processes, and his background is in quality as well. But I did quality in Pepsi and vegetables. And so we have kind of dug in and started to really make it the top priority. So he is leading charge with a program called Draft Lab. And so we get a sensory panel that happens every week, and you do blind taste tests, and you pick up a can in our lab, and you have to answer 12 questions about a number of different attributes about the beer. And then he charts everything out and shows like if we have anything that we need to be worried about, that we're picking up. The diacetyl is not something that we have, but that we haven't had at least. But it picks up aroma, it picks up color, it picks up foam retention, taste, brightness, metallic, et cetera, et cetera. So that's been a lot of fun. The team has really liked it, and we actually do it across the entire organization. So we've got a beer out called Out of Range, which is a blueberry ale right now. That's our summer release. So it's our first time playing around with blueberries. And it's funny because aroma can just mess with people so much. Like they see the name blueberry, they see the blue can, but if they're not like punched in the face with blueberry, they're like, oh, it's not enough blueberry. So we did a blind taste test of sensory, and they got a blank can, so they didn't know what it was. And we were able to make some adjustments based on analytics versus just one person's opinion in the market or a key account or one salesperson. So it's definitely made us a lot more strategic and analytical. And then we do true to target testing. So we take, everybody in our brewery has had stowaway. They've had it a lot. They actually tend not to drink it because it's, it's a staple. So they dabble in the newer stuff usually. But we always want to make sure that dedicated stowaway drinker is satisfied. And so we do true to target testing just to make sure that we're never attempting to never miss the mark. And the people that are buying our package, they know what they're getting. They're getting a good quality, good value beer that was well made, and it's going to taste the same can to can.
Yeah, that's awesome. How's my volume now?
Nope, you're back to quiet. So, yeah, Jen, I will tell you, if you can lean on those quality traits and ensuring that quality is there from your experience and your background, that is steps that not many breweries of that size are even considering at this point. Obviously, all of them have some quality control measures in them, but a brewery at 30,000 barrels a year is what you're putting out right now. You guys,
right now we're 20.
20.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you guys are you guys are light years ahead of any brewery at 20,000 barrels if you're considering quality controls like that in place. That's pretty impressive. But it tends to be, in the craft beer space, you tend to do well at what you know and kind of what you're what your experience has. So that's pretty cool. But that's pretty interesting. I'd be interested to speak to you in person to kind of figure out, because that is that's typically not the cheap aspect to introduce to a brewery like that, is that type of quality control measure. But I think it's completely undervalued, because if you can identify things that are happening in your packages before they get to market, it could save you a ton of money.
Yeah, absolutely. And Baxter, I mean, it was really invested. When I came into Baxter, I was surprised at some of the quality metrics that they had invested in as far as steam analysis. And we're really trying to start to establish ourselves. We just made the investment into an Anton car unit. So we check dissolved oxygen through our entire process, in addition to our steam analysis. So we're less than 10 parts per billion throughout the entire process. And the impact that it has had on shelf life is really, I mean, it's really incredible. We're direct testing under heat and cold at different points in the shelf life. And when my head brewer or my most tenured brewer who's been there since day one, when they're willing to crack a beer of ours that's a year old and they don't have a bit of a concern, like it's a pretty proud day for us. So, things go wrong. Obviously, we're always a work in progress, but we're definitely super happy with the shelf stability that we're seeing out of our products lately and going forward, and we're just improving all the time. So I think that's the point, right? Like, let's get into something that you want to keep getting better at.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's one thing. I've did some time in the beer industry myself. I tell that to everybody that, we all look at some of our large domestic breweries and we kind of turn our nose down to them. But I will tell you, one thing that they have nailed in manufacturing, not just in beer, but manufacturing industry, period, is quality and consistency. I mean, these guys are brewing beer. You grab a Budweiser anywhere in the world that comes out of any of their, 26 breweries, and it all tastes exactly the damn same. And I can tell you right now, getting it to taste the same between two different breweries is, you'll some days you'll wake up and say, I'm done. It's costing way too much money to nail this. But to be able to do it on the scale that these guys have done it has helped out tremendously the beer industry, and not just the beer industry, but every manufacturing industry that we consume products from. They've done it since, Hoppy has some information, the 1700s, Hoppy? Late 1700s, early 1800s? 1800s. So, I mean, it's been a huge, just in the manufacturing industry themselves, it's been a huge asset that these guys have nailed. But to see that you're a brewery as young as you guys are and taking measures like this is pretty impressive. It definitely, I'm going to be leaning on MASH. I don't lean on MASH on too many breweries because I've had a few of them. This is one that I haven't had. But I'm definitely going to lean on MASH to make this connection for us, because I'm interested in trying some of your product. So, Jenna, we're not going to keep you much longer because we hope to have some time with you in the after hours show, and we'll give you a little bit of break here. One last question that we always ask our guests. If the four of us was to walk into Baxter Brewing tonight and belly up to the bar and you just happen to walk out, what is it that you're going to pour for us?
Oh, and it's tonight. It's gonna have to be an innuendo. We've got a White Russian stout that it's definitely a project that's super close to my heart, because I went to my brewer, one of our brewers in 2017, and I said, I need you to make me a beer that tastes like a White Russian. We were having a send-off party for my close friends that have a house in Londonderry, Vermont. She was moving out of Vermont, and we have epic ski weekends together, and we always drink White Russians. And they weren't really big beer drinkers. So, and he was a little bit like, I don't want to do this, but it came out amazing. We did it on our 10-gallon system, and I took 1/6 with me to Vermont. they had a fixal at the tap room, and it was lighter than amber in color. I mean, it is so light and pristine, and it comes in at, the first version actually came in at 11%, and you sip it, and it tastes like it's 5%. It is the sneakiest mental beer, as far as just,
dangerous.
It is dangerous and sneaky, but it's an experience, because as you drink it, you get all of the chocolate, but it's palatable. It's not, you're not like feel like you're drinking a boozy drink, and it's just a really, especially for beer lovers, it's just a really fun one. And we're on our last keg of that, so I think that would probably be the one I would say. I would actually probably recommend that you start with the Coffee Dunkel, because that's a sleeper.
Ooh, yeah,
and then go, and then I would tell you to save room for a sampler of the Innuendo if you had to drive home. But if you're staying at the hotel across the street, I'd say grab a crowler of the Innuendo.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
So Hoppy likes to go for the large ones first.
Yeah,
so she dive right into the Innuendo.
Yeah, Hoppy's so we do a Sunday morning international edition where we bring on our other co-hosts from Germany. So we have to start our episode at like 10 in the morning. And the last time I think it was, she woke up at 10 a.m. drinking a morning wood that was like 13%. So she'd be tossing back those Innuendos like they're nothing. Is that something you put in a package, or is it just on draft?
We do it in October, and it has the dude on it. So it has the dude on a magic carpet sitting in his chair, and it was a brainchild that, we were just like, we got to do this. And long before anybody else was doing it, those are my favorite projects that really just kind of spur from something that happened or some relationship we have, and that everyone's just having a lot of fun with, and it's also successful in the market. And, our team just ends up being really proud, and we kind of just gush. Like, you never get a one-line story about those project beers, because they're just so fun in the way the fans react to them. And, that's definitely one of those for us. And people just love that we had all of these different pieces on the can that are quotes from the Big Lebowski. And then actually, we didn't know the year we released it happened to be the 20th anniversary of the Big Lebowski as well. So to bring in a cult favorite like that with Innuendo and with Go For It with Caddyshack, it's definitely, those are our ways of showing a bit of our personality. We really like to make high quality stuff, but we also have a lot of fun doing it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Mash, that beer has to be high on your list to get a hold of for us, because that sounds like a phenomenal beer, for sure.
I told you, I'm over here feeling homesick. I'm all in my feelings. Yeah. I post in the chat, do y'all want to see a grown man cry over a PBR? I know my wife, she chimed in, and she's all about it, and she used to love the Browns and stuff, so Baxter was always one that I picked up for her. So I definitely cannot wait. I'm going to be bugging my friends, my mom, anybody to hook us up a little, because now I'm over here just getting all sentimental.
Yeah, Nash, we'll have to exchange some mailing addresses and hook you guys up with some fun stuff.
I'm notorious for sliding into DMs for our guests as far as getting them on the show. So this is definitely a relationship I'd like to keep as far as exchanges go, for sure.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, it's one that whenever people order it at the pub, I'm like, just do yourself a favor, and you have to drink this beer from a glass. And they're like, it makes the taste different. It's the quality, it's the glass quality. Like, no, it's just the mind warp. As I know this, I didn't want to say F, but really, it is.
It's okay. It's not a PG show.
Well, it's the mindset of how is this beer? Like, the way it looks, the body is so light. It's awesome. But we can definitely make that one happen for you.
Awesome.
We'll have to send you two. We've got another little sleeper on draft. We have 24 draft lines, but we have a sleeper right now, a jalapeno IPA that has got 8 pounds of fresh diced jalapenos, and it is unbelievable. unreal. It is unreal. You think it's going to be like wicked hot, and then all you want to do is drink more. It's thirst quenching, yet it like leaves you like, oh damn, that finishes just a little hot. So it's cool. It's a really cool beer.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. So we definitely look forward to staying in touch with you, because it's breweries like you guys that we definitely want to build relationships with, and if the time ever allows it, to walk into your tap room at some point and belly up to that bar and try one of those 24 taps would be amazing. Even if we have to do it through MASH, I will still enjoy it.
You guys can come stay at my parents' house. They live like an hour away. We can just stay there, and you know what? We're gonna go party at Baxter. That's what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Our 10-year anniversary will be in January, and I promise it will be a bash. So
wow,
it's at least it makes it a little bit post COVID, or potentially maybe we're able to gather together again. But we definitely want to make this 10th a really big one. Yeah,
that would be awesome. I will tell you, there is conversations about us taking this show on the road. So Maine in January, you better bring a coat and probably some boots. But I can promise you one thing, the beer would be worth it.
Oh, bring your boots, bring your sled dogs, everything. We're going. Just so you know, we're going.
Yeah.
I'm going to dress cool style for everything
in January. In January, we do a barrel-aged version of Innuendo, but it never lasts past January.
Oh.
So that'll be good timing for that, too.
Golly, you're going to twist my arm to make a trip to Maine in January here real soon.
Look,
that's
you don't have to spend money on hotel. I'm just saying, plane tickets and beer. That's all we're buying.
Awesome. Yeah, that's that'll be on the radar for sure. It may have to, well, I don't know, college football may be still playing in January if things keep going the way they are, but we'll definitely keep it in mind. Jen, we're not going to keep you much longer because we're going to have you in the after hours. We're going to let you take a little bit of break. We've got to cover a little bit more business, but I'll send you a message here shortly with the link to the Zoom chat there, and look forward to chatting with you some more there in the after hours show. Appreciate your time.
For sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'll see you guys
for sure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we'd like to be cheersing with a Baxter beer, but the majority of us have a PBR, and I see Hoppy down there sipping on a Miller Lite.
Just look away.
Maybe these guys would step up and join us on a Tuesday night once in a while. This wouldn't have to happen, but
just saying.
Jen, thank you for your time.
To Tuesday.
Jen, thank you for your time. We'll chat with you here a little bit in the after hours when we get to chat and have the crew interact a little bit more. So it'll be good. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow. That's an amazing person in the beer industry, and it sounds like she knows everything that's going on in that brewery, and that's pretty cool. I have to say, that's pretty neat.
I knew Baxter was...
Is my banging gone?
It is gone, yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Look, we can hear you. Lucky's banging's gone. My tears are stopping.
But we
It's
can't hear MASH very well, though. Now it's
yeah,
MASH.
you sound low now.
Oh, my God.
It's just...
I know. At least it's not last week.
all over the place
anybody
tonight.
who tuned in last week, it was all the technical difficulties.
Hey, I
I
tell
turned
you
it down so you wouldn't hear me sobbing, okay?
one of the cool things about Baxter was, man, we nailed the mark with the music, huh?
Yeah, that was awesome.
No kidding.
That was pretty cool.
hilarious.
I had no idea, but I will tell you what, that just makes me want to go there even more because it's a great band. So let's, I know what everybody's drinking, but we're going to have to go down to Florida and check out Beer School because it's our last edition and we're already going to run over. So let's go down to Beer School down there, check out what's going on with Hoppy in the last rendition
Prohibition's over.
of Prohibition.
But we're still drinking PBR.
Well, I have a PBR. I don't know how much of it I'm drinking. I did pour half of it on a baked brie for dinner tonight, so that worked out well.
What?
Oh, there you go.
Now we're going to have
Sounds
to have
like
some
cheating.
baked brie beer recipes.
Yes, it's
Awesome.
delicious. You can pour any kind of alcohol on it, just shove it in the oven, and as soon as it smells good, just pull it out. And that is my famous beer cheese recipe. All right, beer school. If I see you guys go like this, it'll be like when you're, getting pulled behind a boat, like I'm skiing. If I see you go like this, I'll talk louder. Because I had some issues with my speaker. Okay. So, how some of our biggest breweries today survived Prohibition. Now, before Prohibition started, there were around 1,300 breweries in the States. When it ended, there were only about 100. Today, we're going to learn about a few of what our well-known breweries did during the driest 13 years in America. Basically, the few that survived and lived to tell about it. So Prohibition did not happen overnight, as we have learned the last few weeks. So a lot of these breweries that made it were prepared ahead of time. Many who did not survive anticipated this nonsense lasting only a couple years, and they thought they could survive that. Others who did not make it relied solely on near beer, which is basically non-alcoholic beer. They were not anticipating so many law-abiding citizens to prefer bootleg beer over near beer. So let's start with Miller. This one's for my stepdad, Rich. The champagne of beers barely survived. They even tried to sell in 1925, but no one wanted them. They tried near beer and soda, but what really saved them was they invested in a bunch of other areas like real estate, mortgage loans, international bonds, and they also owned a bunch of saloons before Prohibition, so they were able to sell some of them. I mean, and thank God it all worked out. Otherwise, where would we be today without Miller time?
Oh, and a better.
Next is the self-proclaimed king of beers, Anheuser-Busch. They saw this coming decades before, unlike Miller, apparently. They even started selling non-alcoholic beer a few years before Prohibition and called it Bevo or Bevo, I'm not sure. And it was actually pretty popular. Ironically, though, during Prohibition, people lost interest and they discontinued it. Bud sold some of their real estate holdings, but they also branched outside of beer. While they did start selling soda and baby formula and coffee and tea and ice cream and other random food and beverage products, they had one product that was a little bit vengeful, but also genius. They sold police vans intended to capture bootleggers and moonshiners. They also sold vehicles that can go on land and water and some campers for Ford trucks, but that Volstead Violators van is pretty damn clever. They couldn't make beer, so they didn't want anybody else to either. They also sold yeast and malt syrup. Now, a few breweries did this, but Bud did it best. These were the ingredients to make beer at home. They could also be used to make bread, and much like the beginning of quarantine, people got really interested in making bread then. The reason Bud did it best was with their advertising, though. Right before Prohibition, Budweiser ran a whole anti-Prohibition campaign stating beer was liquid bread. Then right after Prohibition started, they sold yeast and malt syrup next to a cardboard cutout of a guy winking. So the ad was basically saying, you can make bread at home. Wink, wink. We see what you did there, Bud. Well played. Right before Prohibition ended, Budweiser, or I keep saying Budweiser. When I say Budweiser, I mean Anheuser-Busch. They got special permission from the government before Prohibition ended to start brewing beer so it would be ready the day Prohibition was repealed. Next, we have Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, thanks to Prohibition. Yuengling's saving grace was ice cream. This wasn't uncommon since a lot of the brewing equipment could be used to make ice cream, and they have cold places to store ice cream and refrigerated trucks. Yuengling's ice cream, though, got so popular they continued to sell it until 1985 and then brought it back in 2014. So you can actually go, I went to their website the other day, you can buy ice cream for $8 a pint and spend $30 and they'll ship it to you on dry ice right now. And you can get flavors like black and tan and butterbeer.
Okay, time out.
For all the non-muggles.
Butterbeer? Hold on.
There you go. Oh, we spotted a non-muggle. Next up is Pabst. Everybody say cheers.
PBI kids.
This was not planned. I don't know how this happened. So Pabst did the whole soda and malt syrup thing, but they also leased space. They also leased space to Harley Davidson, and lucky they did the most Wisconsin thing possible. They started a cheese company. Nice. And they ended up selling 8 million pounds of cheese. And I don't know if anybody's heard of this cheese company. They sold it at the end of Prohibition, but they named it Kraft. What?
Wait, so you're telling me like Kraft macaroni and cheese?
I am telling you Kraft macaroni and cheese. So Prohibition gave us Kraft mac and cheese. And our local Mellow Mushroom actually sells beer cheese with PBR in it, and I now have a newfound appreciation for their beer choice. And tonight we really did pour PBR on our brie, and that's not the first time we've done that. Because if we're making brie, we don't want to waste good beer on the brie, so we pour. Sorry if my brother's watching. Sorry, Brandon. We pour your PBR on.
Pour your awful PBR you buy for $5 in a 12-pack.
It's more cost efficient. Okay. So let's go to Coors, brewed with Rocky Mountain spring water. This one surprised me the most. So they were making bottles in-house, and they had a lot of clay deposits around the brewery. So when Prohibition started, they created a ceramics company. That's interesting. So I instantly thought, they're making some fancy cups and plates you see at Pier 1. No, they're making agriculture equipment and aerospace equipment and lab equipment and stuff for the auto industry. And if you Google this company today, Coors Tech, T-E-K, they still exist. They're a legit company. I recommend everybody Google it. COORSTEK. It's worth a Google. Now, my favorite one is Anchor, Drink Steam. So what did Anchor do during Prohibition? Well, on the books, they did nothing. There are no records during Prohibition, but the day it ended, they were selling beer, and that's all they'll say to this day.
Huh.
We know what they were doing.
Huh. Seems legit.
So, and even I did one of the tours there, and the tour guide even kind of does a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So I would love to know more information on that.
And Bruce Wayne isn't Batman.
Exactly. But we don't get any more details. They still won't. They've come out since and been like, there are things that weren't on the books, but they still won't say what happened.
Snitches get stitches.
Dude, that statute of limitations is over. Snitch away. All right. During the Noble experiment, Prohibition agents actually picked up on the whole malt syrup and yeast thing, and they tried to shut it down. Fortunately, the courts actually sided with the breweries, and they got to keep selling these bread-making ingredients. And some other breweries did other things. They made dyes, and they did medicinal beers and whatnot. Some just sold their equipment, cut their losses, and some even tried the bootlegging route. All in all, we lost a lot of breweries during those 13 years, many of which were German. But these guys I just mentioned survived and are still enjoyed by many today. The purchase of Anchor Brewing by Fritz Maytag in the 1960s is believed to have started the craft beer revolution we all love so much today. In conclusion to my Prohibition series, fuck you, teetotalers, and this bud's for you. Cheers.
That's not a bud, that's bourbon.
It is a bud. It's Goose Island.
That is.
That's true. This is awkward.
I love it. I love the ending.
I zoned out.
I love the ending. That is great. I will tell you what, if we were smart, we'd have recorded each one of these separately and put a series on YouTube and attracted some people to watch it, because I always learn something. Speaking of YouTube, go check us out. The Hoppy Mommy has spent some time over the past couple of days on YouTube, and it's looking phenomenal. We've actually got a catalog built. We have some playlists built. We have some ending cards, I think, on videos. Things are looking sharp there, Hoppy. We definitely appreciate that work that you're doing for us there.
Yeah, there's still a lot to do, but it is, coming along.
Yep. Looking minty fresh.
Yeah, it's looking a lot better.
Yeah, some of it takes a while, too. Like, you update something, I'm like, why isn't this working? Oh, this may take up to 24 hours. Oh. Well, they should have told me that when I hit save.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Well, we're at our hour. I know we didn't get a lot of time in there for conversation amongst the crew, but it's been a good one. I mean, Baxter Brewing was pretty amazing. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in Maine and don't want to go drink beer at Baxter Brewing tomorrow, I don't know what else you're going to do. You just might as well cancel the weekend, because she definitely sold that product that they're putting in those cans up there. And if you're into beer at all, that's definitely something to check out. Hey, we still have the opportunity.
Oh, the beautiful bomber jacket.
Man, I will tell you what, the more I look at these things, the more impressed I am at what we've created. Those hops on the back and on the bottom are pretty special. Gorgeous. Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. To be entered, drop a donate there in the, hit the donate button, drop some change in there for the Friends of Maine State Parks. Great organization. I will tell you, the state parks, especially where we live, were mobbed during this pandemic. I mean, standing room only, no parking on the side of the road. I mean, it was crazy, and I know they could definitely use the money because guess what, folks? Your states are bleeding money and will not have the money they need for their budget. Guess what they're going to cut first? You guessed it. Those park and recs budgets are going to get slashed, if not eliminated from a lot of budgets. So these folks here will make sure that the money gets donated and goes to the right place. And speaking of that, I'm going to go down the list and recognize the ones that have donated because this is a great organization that deserves it. Matt, Nick, Corey, Lauren, Lori, and
Jeff just donated.
Robbie and Jeff. Yes, appreciate you guys. Like I said, organizations like this, find out wherever it is, but this one tonight, the Friends of Maine State Parks, is a great one. And I will tell you guys, they're not feeling the pain yet because it's still the same year and the states had the money set aside. Next year is going to be brutal, guys. Next year is going to be absolutely brutal. And these type of organizations like that are exactly the type of people that we need to have on this show to be a part of it. Let's go check in with Lucky, get his parting shots. Lucky, you've been doing some producing yourself. I will tell you guys, if you're sleeping on Lucky, he is going to surprise the hell out of you when he starts dropping those Feeling Lucky episodes.
Yeah, so I will be joining the After Hours show, but only for a little bit because I'm going to finish up, hopefully, the first Feeling Lucky. I'm going over to my friend's house and we're going to finish it up. Look for it hopefully this weekend. That's what I'm going for. But yeah, so fun. I wanted to say, but I was having some hearing issues or my mic was having some issues. I wanted to say Innuendo is one of my favorite names of a beer ever. I just love that name. So it's something that I definitely wanted to try. But yeah, I've got Feeling Lucky coming out soon. If you're in the Hops News family, you saw the episode 0 that got greenlit. And yeah, we're just trying to make sure that it's good before we put it out there. There will be a 45-minute interview with both Chris from Bottle Share and Henry from Mobcraft that we did on site. It was awesome just shooting the shit with them for a while. We were all many beers deep, so it was a lot of fun. But yeah, look for that to come out, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and Lucky, due to the thanks to our Hops News family, I'm going to send you a little care package that's going to have some equipment for your next live segment that's going to set you apart. So if anybody missed it, Lucky did a great live on location segment with Mobcraft Brewing and Bottle Share this past weekend. It's on Facebook. You can go and watch it. They really opened the doors and allowed Lucky to come in. And I will tell you, those few minutes that Lucky had really opened my eyes to what we have available and what we can do for breweries. So due to the thanks for our supporters there in the Hops News family, I'm going to send Lucky a little care package. So his next live segment is going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be stepped up a notch. So looking forward to that. Lucky, appreciate your work up there. Keep doing what you're doing.
Can't wait.
But go get that damn shirt that somebody puked on off. That is horrendous. UNC. That's the last shirt I'd expect to see.
Come
Lucky
on,
wearing,
man. Carolina. This is the
Yeah, that's our
this is the
Jordan.
goat.
Yeah.
No.
What?
This is
Oh, you're
Vince Carter.
working the Tyler Hansborough, aren't you?
No, this is Vince Carter, man. Half
Oh, I
man,
couldn't
half
see the number
amazing.
fully. Okay, see, it's Vince Carter.
Half man, half amazing.
The
He
man
just
spanned
retired,
3
so
different
shout out.
decades. Vince Carter was like the last of my childhood. That man in the dunk contest. Don't even get doing. I'm not getting started right now.
Anything with
He's the
sports
best.
episode.
anything with Carolina on it is absolutely terrible.
Get out of here.
Let's go check in with Mash.
Absolute hater.
Mountain Home, Idaho, Mash the closer.
Oh,
I will tell you right now, if you get an email from Mash, you might want to reconsider life because you're getting ready to do whatever he tells you to do. Mash, who do we got coming up for our upcoming episodes? I know you've got a list that's pretty amazing. If you can go down that for us briefly before you give us how to follow you, where can people find you, parting shots, that would be great.
Oh, man. So, yes, we do have on Tuesday, we have Bryant from Full Pour Media. He out of Colorado. We got hooked up with him. He does a lot of great things for breweries in Colorado as far as getting them out there.
You missed Sunday.
Oh, my gosh. My apologies, guys. I left out Sunday because I'm not going to be on Sunday's episode. I am going hiking, so it's my apologies. We have Brewwitch, who managed to snag, is it Brilo?
Yep.
I'm not sure how to say it.
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's BRLO out of Germany on our international episode Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Brewwitch from Germany. She snagged a big, our first real international guest is going to be on. So look forward to that. And then Tuesday, like I said, we have Bryant from Full Pour Media. Next Thursday, we have Kenny Gould from Hop Culture Magazine. If you don't know what Hop Culture Magazine is, you're missing out. You got to really do some research there. They do a lot of cool things. They are working on their very own virtual beer festival as well, so which ties into our following Thursday guest, which is Tripping with Animals. Tripping Animals, I'm sorry. Before that, I'm just, one PBR deep, and I'm just losing my mind. So, yeah, we have a lot of good guests, to include another big Maine one coming up here August 13th. We have Shipyard. I'm all over the place. My phone wasn't loading. Normally, I have my cheat sheet up. Too many guests to remember right now. We are booked through September. So, not a bad problem to have if I have to use a cheat sheet to remember everybody, because there's so many great guests coming on. And if you want a brewery on, make sure to slide into my DMs. I'm going to be there. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at Matthew Tyler. Hit me up on Facebook. I'll answer on Facebook even, or the Hops News. However you want to. If you want somebody on, I'll make it happen. I'll go to their house even if I have to. I don't know. I'll make it happen just for you. And in my parting shot is, in honor of Prohibition ending, I got a pre-Prohibition lager I'll be popping open on the after hours. So I look forward to seeing all our Hops News family there.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Mash. And you're man, I will tell you what, that's out of the group of people, Mash is the guy that I can message at 4 a.m. on the East Coast, and he replies every single time, all the way up until I go to sleep. So, yeah, Lucky and Hoppy, I mean, you might hear from them before noon if we're lucky, but not always. So, Mash, I definitely appreciate you being there when I need an ear to chew on or anything like that, and definitely appreciate your hard work lining up these guests, because I will tell you right now, there's not another beer media company that has a guest list like this. Not at all. I've checked out some of their episodes, and it's pretty impressive. And we've talked about it, but the Kenny Gould with Hop Culture is going to be a big episode. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to meeting Kenny virtually, and hoping that we can establish a little bit of a conversation after the episode, and kind of give him what we want to do with Hops News, that he might give us some feedback. So great connection there. I know it'll definitely pay off for us. Appreciate your work. Let's go check in with Hoppy. Hoppy, down there in Orlando, Florida, the Professor, where can people find you, and what are your parting shots for the evening until we get to after hours? Are you joining us there?
I'll be joining you there. Yeah, that's where we get to drink the good beer, right?
Thank God.
Everybody can find me Untapped in Instagram, the Hoppy Mommy, no spaces. And actually, when I was doing research for this Sunday, I'm researching Goza. So that type of sour beer. I believe that's how you say it. I know I butchered it last time. And I came across actually a Hop Culture article, so I'll be referencing them in Sunday's beer school. So I'm very excited to do that. I love talking to Brewwitch. I love talking anything German beer, so I'm very excited about that. So, and Tripping Animals, I'm obviously excited about. And next Thursday, we're going to do a little bit of a baseball theme.
Oh, that's right.
And then the following week is sports, and I will have my D Wade jersey on because basketball starts.
Hockey.
Awesome. So back here to the four of us. Thursdays and Tuesday nights happy hours start at 8 p.m. We never finish before 9. As you can see, we're going a little bit late again. So we definitely appreciate it. There'll always be an after hours for our Hops News family members if you're interested in joining. I know Mash will drop that link in the chat for you. That is what helped get us to the point where we could order bomber jackets. And we're developing a new website that is going to be phenomenal. The guy that's doing it does some amazing work with some big companies, and he's definitely given us a great break, and our Hops News family members have allowed us to step off in that engagement. And Mash, speaking of, remind me tonight in a chat that I need to answer back, because I seen he hit me up earlier, but I was completely tied up, so need to hit him back. Patreon sign-offs, been great, man. Another great episode, phenomenal guest. I'm looking forward to talking to her some more in the chat. Hops News bomber jacket. The only way you're getting it is to drop a donation. Going to be a random drawing tonight.
This one's mine. Yep, and it's mine.
No.
I bet you Lucky's going to be one of the last ones to get it. But that's.
I'm
eagerly awaiting, especially on this Hops News.
This is going to be awesome. But it'll be good.
Got mail tomorrow.
Yeah. I've got some care packages coming out from North Carolina sometime next week, so maybe there'll be one tucked into there. And Lucky, you got a package. You got a serious package coming your way, because that live segment was pretty awesome, man. And I've got you some equipment that you're going to be able to step up your game with. So appreciate your work there. Hey guys, thanks for joining us again. It's been real. I can't say that the beer's been great, but it's beer.
Conversation has, luckily.
I already feel sick.
The beer has been appreciated, as you know from Hoppy's segment. It is definitely appreciated for guys like this. Cheers. Hope to see some of you in after hours. Have a great evening.
Cheers. Love you guys.
Man, that was real, huh? A good one
I'm
tonight,
gonna go get my
guys.
hot dogs and join this Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. I just
Throw up quick. This is so disgusting. Oh my god, this beer fucking.
It was painful getting through that PBR.
I'll see you guys here shortly.
One sip of the beer, and that was